The galactic conclave had existed for 11,000 years. 11,000 years of wars, treaties, betrayals, and uneasy peace. 11,000 years of species rising and falling, of empires burning and rebuilding from the ash. In all that time, the conclave had catalogued every predator species, every aggressor civilization, every dangerous corner of the known galaxy. And in all that time, no one had ever attacked humanity twice. Commander Zarek Thorne pressed 4 of his 6 fingers against his temple ridges, staring at the holographic display floating above his intelligence desk. The data was clean. He had verified it 17 times. In 312 years of recorded contact with the human species, not a single interstellar power had launched a second campaign against Earth or its territories. First contacts occasionally turned violent. Humans were, by all accounts, a territorial and reactive species. But follow-up campaigns? Sustained wars of conquest? Occupation? Zero. The Vreth Dominion had struck a human mining colony in 2187. Within 14 months, the Dominion's forward fleet was destroyed and their shipyards on Vreth Prime were craters. The Dominion sued for peace and never looked west again. The Kallori hegemony had attempted a blockade of 3 human systems in 2241. The blockade lasted 9 days. The hegemony's admiral was returned to his government in pieces, specifically, 7 pieces, 1 for each ship he had commanded. The Sorn Collective had launched a full invasion of human space in 2298. 2 years later, the Collective no longer existed as a political entity. Zarek pulled up the casualty ratios. He read them again. He set the display down and poured himself a glass of something strong. How? He thought. How do they do it? Humanity had no psychic abilities. Their ships were not, by any measurable metric, superior to the top-tier vessels of a dozen other species. Their soldiers were soft-bodied, warm-blooded, and disturbingly mortal. They had no hive mind, no ancient weapon caches, no god-tier AI overlords fighting on their behalf. And yet, he filed a formal intelligence request to meet with the human fleet commander. He expected to wait months. Admiral Darian Voss responded in 6 hours. The meeting took place on a neutral station near the border of human space, a sprawling trade hub called Meridian Crossing, where 100 species mixed and argued and conducted business in organized chaos. Admiral Darian Voss was not what Zarek had expected. She was a compact woman, somewhere in her mid-50s by human reckoning, with close-cropped silver hair and dark brown skin weathered by decades of shipboard life. She wore her uniform without decoration, no medals, no ceremonial sash, no rank insignia beyond a single silver bar on her collar. Her eyes, dark and calm, assessed Zarek with the quiet precision of a scanner. She offered her hand. Zarek shook it. Her grip was controlled, not crushing, but present. "Commander Thorne," she said. "You have questions." "Many," Zarek admitted, settling into the chair across from her. "I've spent the last 8 months reviewing every military engagement humanity has been involved in since first contact. I cannot explain your success rate." Darian poured 2 cups of something dark and hot, coffee, Zarek recalled. "A human stimulant." She slid one across the table. "What do you think the explanation is?" she asked. "I have theories," he said. "Superior tactical intelligence. Hidden weapons programs. Strategic alliances we are not aware of. Fear-based deterrence through disproportionate response." He paused. "That last one has the most statistical support." Darian smiled, a small, private thing. "You're not wrong about disproportionate response," she said. "But you're missing something. Something fundamental about how humans approach conflict." Zarek leaned forward. "I am here to understand." She was quiet for a moment, turning her cup in her hands. "Most species," she began, "treat war like a transaction. You attack us, we defend, we reach an equilibrium, we negotiate. There's an understood grammar to it. A ceiling. A point at which both sides decide the cost is too high and stop. Yes, Zarek said. That is the rational behavior pattern. Humans don't have a ceiling. Silence. Every other species, Darian continued, fights until the math stops working. Until the losses outweigh the gains. You're rational actors. You cut your losses. You retreat, regroup, negotiate. She looked at him steadily. Humans don't do that. When someone attacks us, really attacks us, attacks our people, our homes, our children, we don't calculate anymore. You become irrational, Zarek said carefully. We become committed, she corrected. There's a difference. Irrational means you're no longer thinking. We're absolutely thinking. We're thinking about nothing but the problem in front of us. We simplify. We focus. Every resource, every mind, every hour of every day goes toward one single objective, making sure the thing that hurt us cannot ever hurt us again. Zarek processed this. The Sorn Collective made the mistake of bombing civilian habitats, Darian said quietly. They killed 400,000 people in the first strike. Families. Kids. Her voice didn't change, but something in her eyes did. 2 years later, we dismantled their civilization down to the administrative level and handed governance back to their own people. We didn't want their territory. We didn't want their resources. We wanted them to understand, at a cellular level, that they had made an error. The message to others, Zarek said slowly. Not even that, she said. We just needed it to be done. We needed to know it could never happen again. She sipped her coffee. The message to others was a side effect. Zarek stared at his own untouched cup. Most species who encountered human space initially assessed you as low threat. We know. Soft bodies. No natural weapons. Slow reproductive cycle compared to species like the Vreth. We know, she said again. They were wrong. Catastrophically. She set her cup down. Commander, let me tell you what humans are. We are storytellers. We are planners. We hold grudges across generations. We have religions built around sacrificing ourselves for people we love. We evolved on a planet that was actively trying to kill us for 4 million years, and our response was to build spears and then cities and then spacecraft. She folded her hands on the table. We are not the most physically powerful species in the galaxy. We are not the smartest, or the fastest, or the most psychically gifted. But we are relentless. We remember everything. And we love fiercely enough to do absolutely terrible things to protect what we love. Zarek was quiet for a long moment. Outside the station's viewport, a freighter drifted past, bearing human registry markings. There is something else in the data, he said finally. Something I could not categorize. In every conflict, human commanders consistently overestimate their losses before a battle and underestimate them afterward. They plan for the worst case and are somehow surprised when it is not as bad as they feared. Why? Darian laughed, a real laugh, warm and brief. Because we're optimists, she said. Terrified, stubborn, furious optimists. We plan for the nightmare scenario and then spend the whole battle refusing to believe we can't win. She shook her head. It makes us very hard to break psychologically. You can hurt us. You can make us bleed. But you cannot make us stop unless you kill every single one of us, and, she spread her hands, that's never gone well for anyone who tried. Zarek thought of the Sorn Collective. He thought of the Vreth Dominion. He thought of the long list of civilizations who had looked at the soft, slow, weaponless human species and seen easy prey. He thought about what they had found instead. I will be submitting a recommendation to the Conclave, he said quietly. That humanity be reclassified. From what to what? Darian asked, though her tone suggested she already knew. From emerging territorial species to strategic non-aggression priority. He met her eyes. In simpler terms, do not touch. She smiled again. We'd appreciate that. I have one final question, Zarek said. And I want an honest answer. Go ahead. Are you afraid? Of the next one? Of whatever species decides to try again? Admiral Darian Voss considered the question with the same quiet, measured calm she had brought to the entire conversation. She looked out the viewport at the stars, at the vast and indifferent dark filled with 1,000 civilizations, some of which were almost certainly watching humanity right now and running their own calculations. Every single day, she said simply. We're afraid every single day. She looked back at him. We just don't stop. Zarek Thorne filed his report that evening. It was 17 pages long, densely sourced, and exhaustively cited. The conclusion was 3 sentences. Humanity is not invulnerable. They are not the most powerful species in the conclave. They are simply the only species in recorded history that treats losing as a temporary condition. Do not start a war with them. You will not be able to finish it.